It's a CO2 rifle!
Today's video is powered by GI Sports and TIPPMANN.
So here we go again, people. We are here with another new TIPPMANN product. A huge thanks to GI Sports and TIPPMANN. This is the TIPPMANN Omega version 2 12 gram CO2 version. And thank goodness I can say it's not just any old M4. This, apart from your M-LOK rail system, it has your electro-pneumatic valve system and adjustable rate of fire. And did I mention it's a CO2 rifle?
Groovy.
And another great thing about this, apart from the fact that it runs on CO2, and those of you that run the HPA version will know what I'm talking about, all you have to do is change the stock, add the adapter, and you can run it as an HPA rifle. The only other things that you need to be up and running are BBs, CO2, and a 9-volt battery. Wait, what? Yes. This is a first for me too, but all will be revealed very shortly. Let's get it open. So once again, a huge thank you to TIPPMANN and of course GI Sports. Oh wow. First thing I need to show you is that it comes with an instruction manual and something that's very important that kinda explains why we need a 9-volt battery. So we also get a bag with various Allen keys and what looks like an O-ring. And we also get a CO2 canister, and as you can see by the diagram, it takes two. You also get a 120 round mid-cap mag, and then of course the rifle itself. Now it comes in two versions, I believe. So you've got this one. Wow, where you go? Right, this is the carbine version, or if you like, carbine, or you can get the shorter CQB version. And by the way, if you look down there, it shows you the variants, and of course the one ticked at the top is the 14-inch carbine, and as you have already seen, it comes with one of these canisters, and you simply just pop two 12-gram CO2 capsules or cartridges in here. And I tell you what, I'll do that right now. So all you need to do is just unscrew the cap, and then when you look down there, you can see where one of the cartridges will be pierced. But if you also look in the cap, there's another one. So as it shows on the side, you put them in like that, back to back, and both cartridges will be pierced. So that's already loose, not tightened. So I'm going to drop my first cartridge in. Now what I'm going to do here is loosen that to its furthest point, only because this is the first time I'm ever using a system like this, and you will note it will not come off completely, it will just stop, which is good. What I can do now without piercing anything is I can put the cap back on and tighten that up. That has now been tightened, and now I'm going to tighten the end cap, and you should hear the piercing noises. There you go. Nice. And this whole entire canister has been pressurized. And let me just quickly show you the nozzle. And I'm going to put the cover back on until I'm ready to put it in the rifle. Now, let me show you how simple it is to do this. And again, I've got to stress, This is CO2, okay? If you want it to be HPA, it's a change of the stock and adapter assembly, and then you put one of your HPA tanks in the stock. But right now, here's your CO2 canister. That's where you're gonna insert it. And I tell you what, before I put this live one in, here's an empty one because I want to show you how easy it is to take out again. So you pop your CO2 canister in and listen up. Clicks into place and it will not fall out. The only way you can get that CO2 canister back out again is right here. You simply pull that down and out it comes. So let me put the live one in now. And did you notice, apart from the little click, you also heard a little hiss that tells you this bad boy is ready to go. But there is that little matter of the 9-volt battery. And once you have that battery installed, that's where your trigger and fire selector switch comes into play. And by using your fire selector switch and the trigger, you can adjust the rate of fire. Come on, let's get it in. So to get the battery in, you simply put it in your grip. And there will also be somewhere within the trigger guard a little LED. So look, there's a bit of sponge down there. Let me just get that out of the way. And here is your connection for your battery. Now I can just close it up and Bob's your uncle, but if you pop this bit of sponge back in, it will prevent it from rattling around. Hold on. Decent. Right now, keep an eye just behind that trigger. When I take it off safe and put it on semi-auto, we're looking for a green LED. There you go. And at that point, there's nothing in here. Point it in a safe direction. It should fire. Now, from what I've heard, it's crisp with almost zero kick. Wow. Literally, I'm telling you, it's funny. I did see once in one of the comments where someone said it's funny that in the airsoft world, some airsofters, like me, get really excited about how hard an airsoft weapon can kick. Whereas in the real world, they prefer less kick, less recoil. But this bad boy, no kick at all and very crisp. Wow, decent trigger response too. Now, what we're looking for on this LED is either green for 10 rounds per second when I put it on full auto, orange for 20 rounds per second, or red for 25 rounds per second. Now, before we go any further, there is an error in the instruction manual, okay? It will be updated sooner or later, but it refers to the rate of fire and how to program it. The manual says green is 10 rounds per second, orange is 20 rounds per second, and red is 25 rounds per second. Wrong, it's green 10 rounds per second, orange 15 rounds per second, red 25 rounds per second. So it's just the orange one should be 15. And as far as programming the rate of fire, it's done like this. You need to make sure it's on safe. You then need to pull the trigger and hold that trigger. You then turn your fire selector switch from safe to full auto. You then wait for that little LED to flash and then you release the trigger. So let's do those first few steps now. There we go, it's flashing and it's flashing green. That means 10 rounds per second. If I press it again, it will go orange. That means 15 rounds per second. So because in that sequence I selected orange, this will now fire 15 rounds per second. Now, let me just show you what it sounds like if I put it to green. That should be 10 rounds per second. So again, it's in safe, pull and hold trigger, turn it to full auto, wait for it to flash. There you go, let go, pull it, that's gonna go to red, pull it again, that will go back to green. It will stop flashing, it is now ready for 10 rounds per second. Decent. Right, let's have a listen to 25 rounds per second. So again, safe, pull trigger, hold trigger, wait for the little flash after you've put it on full auto. There's your flash, let go, press, that's orange, press, that's red. That is now ready for 25 rounds per second. And again, to test that, just put it to semi or safe and put it back to auto. This is now 25 rounds per second. Yeah, baby! Now, something to note with these first editions of the version 2, the manual may say something a bit different down there. Ignore that. Just follow the instructions I just gave you right there. Now, let's go through a few more of the features and then let's test this for accuracy and FPS. So you have your adjustable stock. And of course, as you have seen earlier, that's where the canister goes. And you have some checkering on the butt plate. You have your mag release, your full metal trigger and trigger guard. By the way, this entire platform is metal, apart from the usual grip and stock. You got your usual warnings, your M-LOK rail system, your floating outer barrel, plenty of rail space, your polymer flip-up fully adjustable rear sight, your polymer flip-up adjustable front sight, and as you can see there, you can actually change your sight picture by flipping down this piece right there. And at the front here, you have your flash hider. Now it is polymer. I was surprised, I thought that was going to be metal, but you can take it off and swap it out, especially for my American viewers where your one will come shipped with an orange one. This can be removed. It's a 14mm counterclockwise thread. So far, so good. Really loving this platform. Nice solid piece. Loving the trigger. I've literally never had, and you know I've got quite a few, never had an M4 style or any style Airsoft primary or whatever where the trigger is literally 100%. I don't know how to explain it. Just listen. Look, very easy. Nice. Okay, so of course you got your mock bolt release, doesn't really do anything. And you have some TIPPMANN trades. Now, of course, as you have seen in one of my first TIPPMANN videos, they make the real version too. But anyway, TIPPMANN Tactical, Fort Wayne, Indiana. And then here you have more TIPPMANN trades, and this being their newer logo. Your mock forward assist, your charging handle that opens up your dust cover that reveals your mock bolt, and your hop-up adjustment wheel. Right, so out of the box, with the exception of 1 or 2 countries, these will come firing way above 400 FPS. Now, because it does full auto, that would be illegal in the UK. So anything you get from a UK store should already be adjusted so it falls within UK legal limits. Now, another plus point for the version 2 of this particular rifle is that, you know, on the version 1, apparently it was an absolute pain to get in there to adjust your FPS. Now, you can adjust it on this, but they've made it slightly easier, but not too easy, so that when you're out there on gameplay, you can't just change it like that on a whim. With this one, or should I say with the original one, you had to take the grip off. You practically had to take the whole thing apart just to adjust your FPS. With this updated version, you don't need to take the grip off anymore. Now all you have to do on this version 2 version is remove that pin / screw there and that one there, and that will give you access to the adjustment in there. Now, if you remember earlier on when I was doing the actual unboxing, there were a number of Allen keys. Well, here's one of them, and that one will or should fit this one right here, which it does. So you start to unscrew that one, but keep your finger here, or at least your hand here, because watch. Now, I don't know if you just saw that, but it's actually 2 pieces. So we'll just put those there. Now, once you have that one out, that will enable you to do this, which then gives you easier access to that one. And then in the box, I found this Allen key, which should fit right here. Perfect. So you just undo this. And then eventually this one long screw will come out and you just separate the two pieces, and then right there in the center is where you adjust your velocity / FPS. So yeah, really not just another M4. This has got some pretty cool features on there. Loving that grip. Right, we've already got the CO2 in. Let's get the mag ready. So TIPPMANN were kind enough to send me their M12 Sidewinder speed loader by Odin. Let's do this. Okay, let's make sure it works. Nice. I tell you what, this really is snappy. Listen to that crisp snappiness. Hold on. Let's check the full auto. Oh my goodness. Oh! So as you can see there, it's been adjusted to do about 340, 350, and it cheekily jumped up a little bit on the last shot on full auto. So, 4 there, 4 there, 4 there, and I'll empty the mag here. Or here. Right, before I empty the mag, and there won't be many left because it's a 120 round mag, but would you look at those results right there? There's my first attempt. Can you get any tighter than that other than every BB going through the same exact hole? No. Well, actually, there's a little rogue one down there. And then over here again, nice tight readings. Now, I wasn't that far away from the target. I'll talk about that in a moment. But look, still, in the grand scheme of things, that is decent. And look. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Just off to the left, but tore into the center. Lovely. And then here again, decent groupings, yeah, 1 or 2 shots outside of the red, but again, from there to there is no more than about 1 inch. Now, I'm gonna walk back to the distance I was before and fire at this red circle there. Okay, now, let me just explain something to you. Full explanation is in every single video description, but I can only do up to about 50 feet, which really isn't that far at all, but this is the space I've been given for free, so I'm not going to complain, and I can't always get out to that farm where I have permission on private land to do a much further shooting test. Now, once this whole pandemic has died off completely, I'm going to be taking a whole truckload of my Airsoft primaries and sidearms, and I'm going to do one massive outdoor long-range accuracy test. Okay, so for now, you're just gonna have to put up with these shorter ones. So let's do this. We're gonna aim there. Full auto. The rate of fire on this is insane. And look at the results. Absolutely tore up the target. Didn't quite get dead center of that X, but I am still happy with those results. Haha, my TIPPMANN. So, Absolutely, so far, very impressed with this. As normal and naturally, I have picked up on one or two things I need to point out to you, which could be seen as a little negative. But first, if you're wondering how many shots can you get from this bad boy, I'm gonna remove that canister. So again, to do that, you just pull down on this. That's pretty much empty, so you need to put 2 more back in there. However, you can buy extras. So when your CO2 runs out, you just pop it out and slot in another. One thing to note though, do make sure your CO2 has completely finished before you release your canister. So how many shots will you get from one charged up canister? Well, we are looking at about 200, which is about right. And if you include all the blank firing I did, the accuracy test, the chrono test, we are pretty much around that figure of 200. So there you go, people. This is the TIPPMANN Amiga version 2, the CO2 version. And let me tell you this, there are 1 or 2 little things that I do wish was different. For example, out of the box, let's have a metal flash hider, please. And it's understandable that in the States you're going to get a plastic orange one. But as this is the EU version, I think they like to call it, it will come with a black flash hider. But normally you can get an option of having orange or black in the box. I only saw a black one here and it was also plastic. So a metal flash hider would have been that nice little extra touch. And I wish that little bolt catch thing, that it actually held back that mock bolt so you can do your adjustments with your hop-up adjustment and then release it by pressing it. Other than that, here are all the good points for me on this rifle. For starters, the finish on this is beautiful. It feels very sturdy, absolutely loving that trigger system, very snappy, feels very light but not loose, very good fire selector switch, loving that you can program the actual rate of fire from the trigger, and I tell you what, many people, well not many, some people complained about the other one. You remember the one I did where you could do HPA or CO2, but you had to put the CO2 cartridge in the magazine, which meant once the magazine has run out of BBs, you had to take the mag out and then some of your CO2 is wasted. A few people didn't like that at all. Plus it limited you to what type of mags you could use when running it on CO2. With this bad boy, the TIPPMANN Amiga V2 CO2 version, the CO2's in its own canister in the stock, as you saw, so you are opened up to a world of different types of mags that you can use on this platform and not worry about wasting any CO2. So that is fantastic on this particular model. And do remember, you can also get the HPA version of this where the HPA tank actually goes in the stock, or you can just get a different stock with the adapter and put it on this one. Now at the time of uploading this video, this is not available yet. Keep an eye on the GI Sports/TIPPMANN website, link in the video description, for when this will be released, and also check with your local Airsoft retailers. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.